And so it begins.
It begins!
Shall we begin?
So it begins. And now it begins.
So it begins.
And so it begins.
And so it begins.
Shall we begin?
Shall we begin?
And so it begins. And so it begins. And so it begins. So, shall we begin?
So, it begins.
Shall we begin?
Shall I begin? Shall we begin?
Shall we begin? Shall we begin?
Welcome back, everybody. We shall begin. I've heard this intro 1,000 times. I always fucking love it.
That's a good intro. That's really rock solid. I have not heard that one. That's
Thanks,
really
man.
rock solid.
I put it together. I used to not have the music in there, so just play the clips. I'm like, nah, I gotta find something that goes with it.
It's got a good beat to it.
I'm like, yeah, and you know,
Good beat.
and there's a song that starts with "and so it begins." I'm like, are you serious? It's just a trope that people say, and that's a song. That's fucking. That's funny. Anyway, what is up, man? I'm joined today with I was gonna say decaffeinated Wolfe.
Yeah,
With
we just
Caffinated
talked
Wolfe.
about this.
I know your name's not decaffeinated, but for some reason I don't say caffeine, I guess, or caffeinated often, so my tongue wants to go decaffeinated. But yeah, what's up, man?
Oh man, it's good to be here. We've been talking about doing this for a while, like a year.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, it's like
It
the last
just
time,
never lined up.
the last time we've like done something was the Harry Potter reactions with Mary
Yep.
as well for the Fandom Collective, which I'm trying to line times up to do some of those again, but yeah, it's just sometimes got to get other things done first because the editing on those is what takes a long time. So yeah, we'll get to those again one of these days, and they're always pretty long too, like 40 minutes to an hour. So yeah.
They're a good time though. I had a blast the last times we did those.
Oh yeah, we will be doing a reaction today toward the second half of the live stream, but we're going to start. Just funny enough, so I've actually been trying to go to the movies lately, which the last couple of years have not gone to see that many films in the theaters, just like few here and there. This year I'm
been
trying
much
to
worth
actually
going to
go
see.
and see movies. And I've seen, you just listed off ones you've seen recently, and I'm like, I saw that. I saw that. I saw that. I saw that. I am a movie person again. Yes. And you saw 65.
I
And
did.
liked it.
I did. That movie was a ton of fun. It was really well done. Simplistic plot. It didn't need to do anything fancy. It didn't even explain why and how they managed to end up 65 million years ago into freaking Earth before a meteor hit and wiped out the dinosaurs. No, didn't bother to explain that. And it wasn't really necessary to the plot, honestly, to find out, because all that mattered was, okay, crashed here, found a little girl as the only other survivor. How do we get out of here?
Yep,
That's
it's
it.
just it. I mean, a lot of people wanted to see where's the high tech civilization? Where's all these other things that we could know here? But it's like it's not as relevant to the plot,
about
really. No, and it's like I think one thing I've heard some people criticize that I think might have helped a little if they didn't look 100% human, if there's a little bit of differentiation or something, so they change by the time they get to the present, maybe. But that's the way it's set up is also like it's not really setting up how they got here, because there's an expiration date. There's dinosaurs on the planet. It's not really a spoiler to say dinosaurs ain't around forever. So
No, they're not.
There's going to be an asteroid coming in, and there's that ticking clock element. I feel like some of the when they're trying to because there's a language barrier. Some of their communicating, I think, could have been done in a more fun way, I think. But for some of the scenes they show, that were pretty funny, ish a little bit. Gets
The little girl actor butt off.
Bug goo on his hands, and it's like he's wiping it off. I've heard some people complain about it, but it's like, no, and then he's like, tries to chase her with it, and it's like, that's just funny, The dad would do that with his daughter,
Well, and that's the thing. That's what the entire actual plot of the film was. He lost his daughter, spoiler, and this girl was somebody else's daughter, but those parents died, and now she's kind of his surrogate daughter in this situation, and he's having to take on those paternal instincts and a protective fatherly role where he's kind of her paternal father figure in this scenario. And they played off each other very well. even with that language barrier, as you said, there was some fun stuff in there, and I think both actors did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, and they, I think some people wanted there to be more action or tension in the movie, but I mean, I feel like, having like a bunch of people shooting raptors or a bunch of raptors eating people or something, it's kind of boring on its own as well.
Yeah, I don't need that. I don't need that. That's not what I was looking for out of that film.
Yeah, I felt the same way watching Last of Us. It's like I am totally fine with there not being a bunch of zombies, because zombies on their own, if you think about it, are just gonna attack you, I guess. And it's like, all right, this can be for some tension of a scene, but like, how often does it show up? How much does that stay in effect? Does that actually last on you? So
yeah,
I saw 65 as like a Last of Us Junior, sort of, and like Dangerous Land. A father's got to take he's a surrogate father taking this girl across dangerous land, and that's the story. that's more to it. So that one was good. I thought it wasn't like I wouldn't give it high ratings, but I'd still say that people should have watched it.
Yeah, it was absolutely worth a watch. Absolutely worth a watch. I was not upset to have spent time on it.
Exactly. What do you think of John Wick 4, though? This is, most people are full in praise for it. I'm in the, I don't know. I don't really like these movies very much.
I love the John Wick franchise. Like when it comes to movies, I'm no movie snob. I mostly just watch action flicks with some deviation here and there. I just love a good popcorn action flick. Give me a decent plot. I don't need anything mind-blowing, but with solid performances and excellent, real, practical action. Not just over-the-top CGI stuff all the time. I don't mind that in the right amounts. Yeah. And the John Wick franchise is known for just straight-up practical effects, crisp, legitimate choreography, great gunplay. Like that is Keanu doing all that crap with those various firearms. Like, he trained his butt off for all of that stuff, and it's incredibly impressive. So I get to enjoy it, a movie like that, on a number of levels. I get to enjoy it for the fun, high octane action that's going on. And John Wick 4, like, it jumps you into the action like right from the start, and it gives you like 5 minutes of breathing room across the whole film. And
I think the whole runtime's 2 hours of fighting.
It's just like edge of your seat action just about the entire film, and I was there for it. I was totally all in. And so I get to enjoy that. I get to enjoy solid performances. I get to enjoy great choreography. I also get to enjoy it on a kind of a respect level, where as I'm watching this, I'm under the understanding that these actors trained like crazy to be able to do this legitimately and have it look legitimate on the screen, instead of just having a bunch of stunt doubles, just having some CGI stand-ins, things like that. So
they hold the camera on them for longer periods of time instead of cutting away all the time.
And none of this Born Identity and Taken quick cuts away in the action, where it's like, you didn't even follow through on that punch. They just cut away. So
I give them credit on that too. That's good.
So I enjoyed the hell out of John Wick 4. And it's not a perfect film by any means, but none of the John Wick films are. But I love all of them.
Yeah, I can see why everybody loves them. It makes total sense, and I feel like it triggers something that's like, oh yes, this is awesome. But for me, watching it though, my suspension of disbelief, I guess, goes away with a lot of it, where it's like, he gets ran over by like 6 cars. He falls out of like 3-story buildings and walks off just fine.
Something you have to understand with John Wick.
The amount he gets shot, it's like, you should at least be like bruised when you get shot, even if it protects you. It's like, it's just pew, pew, nothing. And I wish, and then he's not even like fatigued, really. He's a little tired, but then he's like, okay.
John Wick takes no fall damage. He's like certain videos. There's no fall damage.
He always restores health after he stands up, it seems. Like he's at 1, and then he's at like 30 again. I'm like, well, you should. I don't know. A little too much in one place for that. And so there's things like that kind of bug me a little bit.
That's fair. I mean, that's a fair criticism. It's like, I can see how that would take some people out of the action, take some people out of the film, out of the immersion.
Yeah.
Completely valid. It doesn't do it for me, but I'm going in with that understanding, and I'm not worried about it. I'm just that's not something that bothers me. In the context of those films. There are other films that would bother me in, but that's something that it's been established since the first film, just kind of how much of a beating he can take. And so when they start dialing it up with each successive entry in the franchise, I'm like, okay, let's see what he's going to do next after he gets up from this 35-foot drop.
Right. I guess for me too, it's that they make it seem like there's this world of like highly skilled assassins, but like he's able to kill all of them while being so damaged and while after just doing whatever, and that kind of lowers their ability to me a little bit. Like whatever skill level they are, like they can't beat John Wick when he's like down to 40 health, you know, instead of 100. So there's things a lot of, and like the amount of headshots he's able to do on them, or like, you know, one, and it's like, but he's, I don't know. I just wish there's a little more. That looks good with what they're doing, but for me, like I think it'd be more engaging for the action if there was, I don't know, less obvious. Like these are all supposed to be assassins, so yeah. I don't know. There's too much just easy headshots for him to do on all of them. I mean, and except for some of them when they like do the bounty thing toward the end, a lot of them I don't get the impression that they're all professional assassins. They're all just street thug assassins or something. So that one's I'm not as
like mercs or bounty hunters and whatnot. They're not like official, like highly skilled.
Yeah, they're not of the table. But that's the thing that kind of annoys me too. They have a great tease for what the table and how this organization can be, but there's never really enough clear fleshing out of anything or enough mystery left to answer some things. They're like, well, okay. Like when they make the desert guy in the third one, he's it seemed like this was like some weird
elder or something like that.
Yeah, like he's some weird mysterious thing that like you can't even find. He has to find you if he allows you to find him, kind of a thing. Yeah, and then it's like you can't even kill him really, or if you do, like you're just. There's no way even you can get out, but it's like, oh no, and it's just like right away in the next film, just like irrelevant, you know. And other things do that too, and it bugs me when that happens there as well. So I don't know. It's just one of those things that I'm just like, I don't know how much is he Captain America? Like what is his level? Because I want it to be more that he's
Captain. Don't hurt dogs.
I want him to just be that guy. But yeah, that's the other thing too. They like, I think they pushed out on dog stuff now. Like as far as like, they made it very clear. We love dogs, of course, off the first film. Like, you know, you kill the dog, you're dead. But now it seems like, okay, killing a dog is like, I don't know about that now. Like the one dog gets smacked into the front window of a car and it just stands up right away. Like, I'm fine. And every single time it attacks somebody, they're like out of commission immediately. And it's like, if I don't know, I think they can fight it off, or at least, you know, maybe it gets a kill or two. But I don't know, they use that a little too much. But
I'm always down for seeing dogs kick ass in movies. Honestly, I'm a dog guy myself. I absolutely love dogs. So anytime a dog is kicking ass in a movie, I am 100% all in.
It's fine with me, but it always seems like the enemies pause and allow themselves to be attacked rather than it being like the dog comes out unexpectedly. They're always like, oh, what? They like, oh, I'm dead. You know,
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, like things, if they can just improve things like that, I'd appreciate it more. But that's John Wick for you. But Super Mario Bros. Came out last week, man, and you know I wasn't expecting much from this. You know, it's like just Super Mario, cool. I played 64 and the Super Smash Bros, Mario Kart. They're pretty much the only Super Mario games I played. You know, a couple Mario Party at a couple friends' houses, nothing much, but freaking it's fun as shit. So I don't know, seeing it play out, man, it was pretty fun. They did good at it. You know, I wasn't as like they need to do this with the lore or something. I was just like, I just hope that they don't do super crappy writing that we're used to of the modern day. Let's just have something good.
Yes, which thankfully they did not. Instead, the film felt like kind of a love letter to fans of the franchise that have been playing since the late 80s. And I was having a ball the entire time with that film. Even things that I was kind of leery on, like I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that. Things like some of the voice acting choices. Mostly Seth Rogen. Like, he was the only one that took me a minute to, like, adjust to and be like, okay, it's odd, that voice coming from Donkey Kong, but it wasn't off-putting and it didn't take me out of the film. I just needed to kind of like orient myself and be like, okay, if I can be totally cool with Charlie Day and Chris Pratt and Jack Black for the voices that they're doing, I should be able to get used to this voice without much of an issue. And that wound up being the case. And the film was just a ton of fun. It was beautiful. It had so many Easter eggs and nostalgia callbacks to the franchise. Like, if you're somebody who has played the bulk of the Super Mario games, whether it's the 2D or 3D ones, you will find something in virtually every scene that's a callback to one of the games. And they implemented kind of facets from all over the franchise. There was stuff from Super Mario 3D World. There was stuff from Super Mario Galaxy. There was stuff from Super Mario World, the SNES, just all over the place. And it was fantastic. And I'm glad that they took that route, right, rather than kind of pigeonholing themselves and limiting themselves.
You're trying to make it too realistic or something.
Well, just only doing stuff that's like, okay, so this is the first Mario movie, so we're only going to implement things that were in the first Mario game. That's not necessary because while there is an overarching continuity to the games, it's fairly loose. Insofar as like you never have to play one particular Mario game before you play a new one. That's just not the thing, because they're not narratively heavy. It's not important. And to that end, the Super Mario Brothers movie, I mean, the plot was not much deeper than your average Mario Brothers game, and that's to say that it's not very deep. But that's totally fine.
Yeah. Mario and Luigi stumble into a world. Luigi gets captured by Bowser. Bowser's trying to marry Peach and take over the kingdom. Mario and Peach have to go save Luigi and defeat Bowser.
And save the Mushroom Kingdom. And that story right there, as simple as that is, it works because it's worked in the games. And they've told that exact type of a story in the games and several of the games. And beyond that, they had a nice little message of brotherhood and family and, you know, don't stop getting back up after you get knocked down.
They did what they wanted to do with Captain Marvel, I think. Like when they show the montage of she always gets back up when she falls. You see, she's brave. But it's like they did that really well here. It's just like, oh, come on, little man. Like, you know, you're just getting your ass kicked by the monkey. You just like, come on, there's no way. It's like, no, he's still trying. It's that's what makes you endeared to him, of course. And you know, he's not giving up. It's like, hey, he's obviously gonna get his ass kicked, but he's still gonna try. And he's not even like a fighter, really. Like, I wouldn't put him in like Mario is a fighter, but he kind of is, but not like he's not a warrior, I guess. But he can fight. He'll try to defend his bro. And that's what this pretty much is. It's like, his bro's in danger. You know, it's school. They even show little flashbacks like schoolyard bully. You know, he's gonna stand up for his bro. And that's what you do. And so that in that way, he's a fighter. He's not like actually trying to pick a fight. And he doesn't know like technique really.
No,
but he'll do what he can to, you know, protect people they like. So that's as simple as it needs to be. And that's cool.
And that brings it around to the discussion about Peach.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
everybody wanted to cry their eyes out about Peach being a competent character in the film and acting like, you know, Mario was useless or whatever, which he absolutely wasn't. It was literally the Mario Brothers that saved the day.
Yeah.
But the story that they were telling, everything made sense. She grew up in this place. She's trained in this place all her life, virtually, right? Whereas Mario is just now entering this world. He doesn't know up from down. He doesn't know how things work in this world.
Yeah, they show clearly in the beginning when he's in Brooklyn. Like he's able to navigate those streets very well. He's familiar with how gravity works. He knows how things work, and his brother's struggling a little bit, but he's helping him out too, and he's able to do that. So when he comes down here, though, the first thing he does is like, these are big mushrooms. There's weird plant things moving. Those bricks are just floating in the air. I don't know what's going on here. Like this is everything's upside down. It's an upside down world, pretty much, to how things function. Things move weird, and just, you know, you just eat a mushroom and you can grow big, and then you can go over here and destroy a box. And it's what?
Nothing made sense to him. The only thing he had going for him were his pre-existing, I guess, for lack of a better term, parkour skills, from back home in Brooklyn. And so those were skills that he was able to leverage alongside the new skills that Peach was teaching him. And that's how he was able to end up saving the day eventually, because he was able to add new skills onto his already existing toolkit. And there was nothing wrong with the story that they told. There was nothing wrong with having Peach be a competent character. And she wasn't this, unbeatable Mary Sue. They made, a lot of people were given the film crap for the line that was so clearly a joke. It was so clearly a gag where she's like, "Oh, it took me so many times to get it, until I figured it out." And he was like, "You got the first try." I did get it the first try. But to be fair, I grew up here, right? And that in almost any other circumstance, I probably would have been like, "Really?" But in this one, it was so clearly played as a joke rather than this snide, "I'm better than you. You took forever to figure this crap out" type of an attitude that we see in a lot of modern writing. It was just fun. And she was super sweet and endearing towards Mario from Jump Street. Like, after that first initial meeting, when they meet and she's like, "Who the hell is this?"
Yeah,
and
this dude runs into her castle.
This dude that she's never seen before in her life just starts running towards her. So her
preparing for battle,
reaction,
like she doesn't know, is this an enemy? What is this?
Yeah, so she does the comedic, flips him over her, and that was funny. And like, why this person you've never seen before in your world, all of a sudden is charging at you? Like, your instincts are going to kick in, and you're going to have some sort of a fight or flight response.
She questions him afterwards, like, "You're a human?" But like, that didn't clicked right away. But I mean, there's a lot there. I mean, they also, just with the line that she says about her like having done it in one try, is like they set it up already that this makes sense. And I think I saw some people on Twitter were saying, I was gonna say on Twitter, they were like saying, like, "Oh, growing up in some place doesn't make you good at a skill." And I would agree, but
that is true.
They set it up as soon as he gets here, that this world is not like his. So she's to this, her world is normal. This world is normal to her, not normal to him at all. And when they're talking later, even, I forget what scene, like when they're on the Mario Karts, I think, and she's talking about Brooklyn, she's like baffled by his world. Yeah, but by what he's describing, she's like, "What? That's your world?"
Yeah,
That's
some
so
people
weird.
have turtles as pets.
And like, so to her, being on Brooklyn, like, she probably wouldn't be as like, "Oh, I can just hop around the same way." It'd probably be a little different because it's a different type of world. How come the brick didn't move when I jumped forward or something? Like, that kind of a thing. It would probably be what happens. So like, that's already set up as well. But I think you're right too, where like, as we're most like, Rey, Captain Marvel, and characters that are like that are the typical girl boss of the modern day. Like, they made Peach a likable one. Yeah. Like, she is skilled in all these ways, but she's also not a bitch.
Well, they also have flashback of her training. Even though it was brief, we see her training with the Toads.
Yeah. And
she was younger.
Even if we didn't get that, I feel like her attitude enough is like fine. Like, she
was a likable character.
She wants to defend the kingdom, but the kingdom are like, all the people are like, "Well, what can we do against them? All these other ones were lost. The other were lost already. Mm-hmm. What can they do? They're little mushroom people." And so, she's like, the only one they're capable of fighting. What are you gonna do? Go to the other people that can fight before they get taken over. So try to do something. And like, just it makes this is what I'm saying. It makes sense if you just watch the film. All these questions are answered.
If you're watching the film, if you're watching the film and you don't have outrage lens or fake outrage lenses covering your eyes, and that is the filter that you are viewing this experience through, then you're just gonna have a good time because narratively everything made sense for the story that they were telling. And I thought it was fantastic. And, there were multiple times where Peach, if the writing had been bad, they could have very easily had Peach save the day multiple times. But she didn't. She had a number of moments where she was kicking butt for a bit, but then it was shown that she couldn't do it all on her own. Plain and simple. No, including that one cool scene up on the ship towards the end of the movie, before they go back to Brooklyn, where she gets the ice flower.
Yeah.
Which I thought that looked fantastic.
Yeah, that was
visually
great.
It was beautiful, absolutely stunning, and that was fun. Like, oh, she's kicking some butt here, but not once was I like, oh my gosh, is Peach gonna save the day? No, I'm watching a Mario Brothers movie.
It's like she caught them off guard as well. I mean, they didn't expect her to be able to do it. Like, what? There's a nice flower power up thing.
Toad
Thing too. It was a
snuck her
power.
that.
It wasn't just her skill that won. Like, she's given a power up. Nobody else has power up right now.
Yeah.
It takes them off guard, freezes Bowser. Okay, and then she actually kind of caused her own downfall. I think she ignited King Bomber or Bomb, whatever his name is,
King Bomb, yeah,
or something, and then that like knocked her power up down. And then now she's can't really do anything, and so needs help. And that's when Mario shows up and stuff and saves everybody. And it's like, this just makes sense. And DK too did his part. You know, he saved the people getting getting into the lava or whatever. So like they made other characters play their part. She wasn't just, oh, step aside, loser, I need to do this. As he said, like, yeah, she expected she can't do it alone.
Yeah, she wasn't, I don't need no man Peach. That's not what that was at all.
Yeah, it was like, this is actually like a good, like, friend. Like, if Ray was like this, fucking hell, she'd be more likable character.
If Ray had been like that, if Captain Marvel had been like that, there would have been likable female characters. Imagine that. Yeah,
they could have been as girl boss as they can, but we wouldn't hate them as much with their attitude about it. So yeah, that was good. And even Luigi, like, a lot of people saw him as like getting done dirty, but I mean, I don't know, to me he always kind of seemed like more of the cowardish one. But not even coward, not a coward, but like he's always less prone to be in a fight than Mario.
And that's exactly right. That's how it is in the games. I don't know what people are talking about. Like, Luigi isn't really the first to jump in like that. In fact, his own games show that he is a bit of a scaredy cat. But the important thing about his character is that he pushes through that, even though he's terrified the entire time. And that's what's cool about his character.
That's what's cool in the movie when he steps up, when his brother's in the most danger, he steps up. And helps his bro out, and is like,
he saves Mario, and then the Mario brothers save the day.
Especially if you have a sibling, that hits hard. Like, that's one of those ones that's like, yes, that one hit. You and your bro able to do it.
Yeah, no, and they did that very well as also because throughout the entire movie, Mario's goal is just to save his brother. Peach's goal is to save her kingdom. Mario helps Peach save her kingdom. Then Luigi helps save Mario, and then Peach helps give them that extra edge at the end for the Mario Brothers to just save the day overall. And it was a nice balance of everything where everybody was utilized. Exactly. It did not feel like anybody got done dirty. It didn't feel like anybody got the shaft.
It was an hour and a half, but it felt longer in a good way, I guess, to me.
I would have not complained if the movie had another 15 minutes, but maybe when it comes out on digital and Blu-ray and all of that, which that will be a day one purchase for me. Maybe there will be some extra scenes added that got cut for runtime purposes in theaters because they weren't entirely certain how it was going to do. First film in a franchise type of a thing, trying to test the waters a bit. So I hope there's actually a nice chunk of stuff on there, but no way to tell just yet.
No, I mean, it's just fun to see because so much of that could have been bad. The worst thing I saw, I guess, in the movie is maybe Cranky Kong or the old one. I don't know.
Cranky was fantastic.
Was it Fred Armisen who's voicing him?
I can't remember the name. I'm horrible.
It was like one of those voices that's familiar, and I'm like, I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't know. Or maybe the attitude of expecting something more kooky, and he seems just more chill, which is fine, but I don't know. It wasn't hitting the way that I was hoping for.
Fair enough.
On there.
Fair enough.
That's like a small ass critique. So somebody brought up a critique. Let me know what you think. So how she said that if Mario can do that obstacle course, then he can join. But then when Toad wants to join, she just says okay. Pretty much. I don't think there's anything wrong with that either, because she expects none of them to really, because it makes the tiny little mushroom people. But he's showing that he wants to be brave, and that's like, okay. I mean, I don't think she expects him to accomplish anything, but the fact that he wants to come along shows character, right?
Yeah,
So.
That to me felt more of like a guide type of a companion, even though he wasn't actually leading them there. It was I didn't have any issue with that.
Yeah,
at
no,
all.
the
Like,
person in the
I didn't
person
give
in the
that a
chat
second
here,
thought.
person in the chat here, I don't think it was Ryan. Kind of looks like a fake. It looked like a fake account. It was just having random words in there, so it seemed spam body. Because it was just like saying pookie, yurdy dirty, something kooky, just like random words. Every now and then, every now and then I get spam stuff. So
they're all over the place.
Like right here, where it just says airlock, 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 airlock. Like I don't know.
Bots.
So whatever. Yep. And what's up, Curtis, in the chat here? He's been here the whole time here, chatting here. He says movie sucked. None of the buttons worked. System wouldn't turn off. It just ran the demo mode for a half an hour. I just wanted to play Mario on the big screen. I hear you, man. That would have been fun. That would be a fun thing. Like once Mario's out of theaters, it's like, all right, there's going to be opportunities for people to play some Mario games in the movie theaters if you pay, double the price. Some shit, I don't know. People would do that.
Back in the old LAN days, and a lot of people don't remember those because they pretty much weren't born yet at this point. But in the LAN days, and when a lot more games were either couch co-op or couch multiplayer,
yeah,
there were instances where groups would pool together some funds and they would rent out a movie theater screen, because some theaters will let you do that. They'd rent out a movie theater screen for an evening or an afternoon or whatever, and they would hook up Smash Brothers or Mario Kart or whatever, sometimes Halo.
Yes.
And do multiplayer on those. And that's freaking... I never got to participate in any of that, but man, that would have been cool as hell. I've done enough LAN parties and just couch co-op parties.
I recommend
that's a blast.
I recommended that for so long, especially when COVID was hit. Like, they should have, theaters that were struggling should have offered hey, we'll let you guys, for the price of a movie ticket or, something a little bit more than that. Like y'all can play you can play at the movie theater for a while, play a video game, hook it up, I don't know, like $400, $500 or something, rent out a movie theater for a little bit. Like that'd be fun as shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, dealing with another.
Yeah,
there.
I saw him.
Yep, nice and fun today. Liking to get me today on those. I think they respond to fandom channels, I guess. Specifically, I guess maybe,
sense.
Or they think that it's really related to Geeks and Gamers sometimes.
Yeah,
because there's ones that were like, "Where's Jeremy? Where's Jeremy? Where's Jeremy?" It's like I don't know, man. Crazy.
Doing his own thing, I'm sure.
Indeed, but before we get on to our fan film reaction, Power Rangers Once and Always is coming out next week, man. A week from today.
Is it that soon?
A week from today, yes. Now, what's your knowledge on it? And I will fill in the blanks.
Okay, well, you could be filling in a lot of blanks, which is fine, because I've been running my mouth just about this whole damn stream. I know that there's going to be some returning Power Rangers. I saw some screenshots of Billy. If I remember correctly, Zach.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's been a moderate amount of drama of people asking Amy Jo Johnson, the original Pink Ranger, why weren't you a part of it? Was it not enough money for you? She came out and said any number of reasons, but that's not
it could have been that. It could have been family. Could have been disputes with other cast members or the creator. She could have other projects that she's working on currently. It could be health-related things. Just because they're doing an anniversary for something she was in doesn't mean that she must attend it.
It's not an automatic. It's not a given, right?
Yeah,
it's not a
exactly.
Given. Jason David Frank wasn't a part of it, and and you brought up a good point before the stream that they were filming this prior to his passing, so they're
He wanted to work on the Bat in the Sun project, the White Dragon, and that's what he was doing. And then he probably had time for himself to do as well.
Yeah. Oh, Found you another one.
See, I don't know if they're doing that just like just somebody's doing that just for fun, or like, you know, because sometimes there's memey people, but then there's just like, what are you doing? But the fact that one literally did that on purpose, like, I don't know if that's just a meme or not. I have no idea. But no, Power Rangers Once and Always. So I thought it was going to be a movie that they're just releasing on Netflix, but it's going to be a special that kicks off a show.
So it's kicking off the next whatever the series is.
So you probably heard in rumors a while back. I don't know if these are the same thing. These could be two different things entirely, but they were talking about a Power Rangers movie is going to move away from some Sentai stuff and is going to involve time travel. This was like rumors like a year or two ago for like a new Power Ranger movie that they're trying to do. But I don't think this is the same thing, but it might be, because this fits right with what the leaks were about, what the story might be. And that they're going to try to have original Rangers. They're going to try to, you know, go back in time to the 90s. And that's what they're kind of doing in this one. So this might be what that was. It's going to kick off the next, like, American, like the first season of Power Rangers that is not based on Sentai material. Possibly.
Interesting. So it's almost like the Western division trying to break away and do their own thing.
Pretty much, because whenever they do a Power Ranger episode, they take footage from Super Sentai.
Yeah,
because they're always doing stuff over there. And
with the exception of when they take off their helmets.
Well, they do. There's a lot of extra filming that they do in the stuff. They honestly don't copy as much as people think they do from Sentai.
Not anymore, anyway.
There's like some Megazord scenes. There's some action scenes. There's just certain things that they'll do, and that's it. But yeah. But yeah, so they're trying to do that, and yeah, so I'm not sure if they're gonna have that be like the next actual show with like Billy and Zach and Rocky and them. And some people were confused about the team arrangement because they haven't had this type of team before, because it'd be Jason, Trini, and them, Kimberly, Jason. But you got Kat and you got Rocky here as well, and they haven't been like this whole team with Zach and Billy before. And
yeah, it's kind of an amalgamation.
Yeah, and I mean, with me having watched all like the rest of Power Rangers and stuff, I mean, you probably know with Mighty Morphin, they never defeat Rita.
No,
and Zed. In Power Ranger, spoilers for you, by the way. And
yeah,
you don't mind.
Spoilers, because you know I didn't figure that out back in the 90s.
In Power Rangers in Space, they have a character, Andros. He slices Zordon's tube to defeat all the like villains, like from Rita to that point, pretty much. And in the trailer here, they show like Zordon's tube with the slash in it. And so Zordon's supposed to have been dead for a long time now, pretty much. And Billy also, you didn't watch Zeo all the way, but no, like Billy becomes the sixth man on the team, but not as a Ranger. He just becomes like the guy that helps Alpha, and he helps build Zords and like help them from the base. And at some point, the alien Rangers come back to Earth, and because he's like because they were turned to children, you remember, he was the one that was able to de-age himself or like go back to normal, but the other ones were saved because of the Zeo crystals. But with him not having the Zeo crystals heal him back, he ended up like he was aging super quickly. So whatever stuff from Aquitar they did like healed him, and so he fell in love with the Ranger there, and he's been on Aquitar since. He's been on an alien planet since then. So if you saw the command center, like in the trailer, like was like on a beach, this might be on the planet Aquitar, because that's a weird location to have one on Earth, and with all the Earth Rangers and all that stuff going on. Somebody else pointed out, I've been watching other YouTubers, like there's a couple locations that hint at other like locations where Power Ranger seasons took place, and so when with the team as it is, this is considering all the continuity so far of all the seasons, pretty much.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot of work to take into account all of that stuff.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that what this guy's saying, as a couple of YouTubers are saying, is accurate, because if so, I'm going to like it more. Because at first I was like, this is going to be shit looking at it. But and
why are they trying to do all of this?
Yeah, and like bringing Rita back, I'm like, I get it, but you know, they've had better villains. I'm sorry, like, but she, you know, the design they have for her.
Ivan Ooze. What are you talking about?
Ivan Ooze is great, man. Fuck yeah. That would have been a good little one to bring in to make real. Fuck yeah. But like, you know, the robot design they have for her in the trailer, you know, I returned now. I found a new body. one, I hate the design. If she's gonna return, I wish they picked a different design or like a different creature or something. I hate the robot design.
Could have had Mary do the voice.
Yeah, exactly. They took my idea. They took my idea of her, like when she got, so when they hit Zordon's tube and then all the evil was like eradicated, they were more like cleansed. So the like Rita body like was a human, she was left behind, and then that person like studied good sorcery or something, and then in the Mystic Force season, she's like a good sorceress or some shit. So the human character had some different stuff there going on, but on taking care of another thing here.
They even had the gall to call themselves Nightbot. Wow, which is an actual bot service for helping you post links in streams.
Yeah, that is funny. That is funny. But yeah, so with her evil being cleansed, maybe it's technically the thing that, oh well, the evil part of her was just floating around until it found a body, which to me sounds so stupid.
That
but
sounds
not impossible. But that does sound like it would fit in Power Rangers. That was so, because they brought Zed back in some season and Goldar. They looked like shit, by the way. As well. So it fits right in as well. But
just the overall designs or like the quality of the costumes.
Kind of both to me. I don't know. They
okay.
they don't tend to bring back the gravitas of their character. They either like work them up too much, like hype them up too much, and then it's like, I mean, sure, but I don't know. I feel like they're not being as they would have been, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'll try to mod right now. Holy shit, it's getting annoying.
I
but
can help out if you want to mod me.
Yeah, I just might do that. See if I can grant the power from here. I have to open the stream. I'm not logged in on my thingy. It'd take too long to do, but that's okay. Yeah. So anyway, so there's a lot that's going to be happening with that could be happening with the Power Rangers once and always. There could be quite a bit there, and I don't know. I mean, there's not much else to say about it. There's not much more that we know, but it's going to come out in a week. It's going to be on Netflix, so we'll all be able to watch it when it comes out and when it airs.
Well, maybe I'll take a look at it when it comes out next week. I wasn't particularly interested because, ironically enough, the two Rangers that I would have cared most about seeing aren't a part of it.
Yeah, of course. Everybody's saying. I mean, unfortunately, they got done dirty in the like 2017 movie. Like, they're just little like, oh, we're gonna take a picture of you with our phone cameo. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what you do with Jason and Amy. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
like, you don't have them be like a teacher or a coach or a father, a parent, something. Even
it was cool to see them, but the utilization was definitely underwhelming. I would like when I saw that in theaters. I saw it at midnight. I was like, oh my god, it's them. And then afterwards, like after the movie was over, because I had fun with it. It's not a great movie, but I enjoyed it for the most part. Even though the suit designs are stupid. But the story itself was simplistic enough. It worked for me. I was fine with that. And when Jason and Amy were on screen, I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And afterwards, I was like, it was really cool to see them. But I wish that they had utilized them.
Yeah, definitely.
Otherwise,
I'd say it's pretty much the definitional key jangling with them just doing that. And I'm like, yeah, they're on screen. Great. Now, what if they were doing something interesting on screen and useful with the plot? Then I'd give them points.
Yeah, significantly better had that been the case.
Which they might have been expecting to have more of a role, but then just weren't. So, I mean, that alone could be why they didn't want to return for this. They're like, last time we tried doing something with y'all kind of fucked us over. Like, what?
And that's a valid point and entirely fair. And if that's the case, then I mean, that sucks for fans, because Kimmy, I had a crush on her when I was like 6 years old.
Exactly, for real. Who hasn't? I didn't even know I liked girls yet, but I liked the Pink Ranger. Yes. A lot of people awakened around that time.
Yeah.
To wow, this is good.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
Close the door to just watch it. Yes. It's funny though. Like I'm trying to eventually like rewatch some of the Mighty Morphin and like some of the older shows or ones that I didn't see. Man, I'll say a lot of the later seasons are easier to watch than the Mighty Morphin because there's a lot of the episodes are like, what are we doing here? And then it's like showing Bulk and Skull play around with some goo with microwave, and and it's just like, okay, like I can totally see this being something for a kid, but like I'm just like, oh man.
Yeah, I mean, it
like
was entertaining to us when we were little kids, but you know, as adults, we kind of need a little bit more, a little more meat to the plot there.
That's why it's like I go to like Time Force, where it's like, you know, you got the first episode, they like kill off a ranger, and it's like, what?
Oh, wow.
And they were like supposed to be, and they weren't kids anymore. These were like adult rangers, like that were like, you know, they were getting married, but then, you know, and then there's like Jungle Fury, where they're like learning martial arts and stuff as well, like a different style pretty much. And then they unleash an ancient evil thing, and it like takes over one of the kids' bodies, which he wasn't a bad kid. He just was, you know, more aggressive, and he ends up like inhabiting the villain inhabits his body. And it's a whole struggle for him the whole season to like control himself, or to like, you know, like lessen the evil or traits of the villain essentially. Like,
Right.
And then the hero, the leader of that team, is also like a rookie essentially. The other two people that aren't the yellow and blue are more experienced than him, and they've got to work together as a team to figure out what to do. And it's like they do really fucking good in some of these newer seasons. You know,
A little more work with the plot than they usually do.
A lot more. And they like, and a lot of them is like, okay, you got to go to these different masters and learn some new techniques because you're being stupid here. We got to address some of your flaws and how you can improve. And it's like, this is awesome. I love that.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Yes. And they always keep them to usually about a season instead of like 3 seasons, which I think was able to make a concise like plot, you know, beginning, middle, end with a lot of the stuff. But then there are some seasons that are also like, I'd say probably worse than Mighty Morphin. So, you know, like Zeo and Turbo are pretty bad, I would say. So, yeah. But anyway, we can let's do our reaction after the stream here. Well, we'll end the stream here pretty soon. We can do one like an offline reaction for the fan film thing. But you're working over with the Rippaverse and stuff, right? You know, how about you know, we can talk about some of that stuff if you want to with some of your work that you do, man.
Ask me whatever you want to know, as long as it's something that I'm not under an NDA for.
Of course, yeah. So like, what's some of the stuff that you particularly work on?
So I am, for those who don't know, I'm the creative and social media manager. So I've got quite a few things I do actually. As far as my creative manager responsibilities, I am in charge of requesting various graphical projects, whether it's still art, whether it's animated art, for promotional pieces, marketing, things like that. Requesting various graphics to be made for Eric's streams, and whether it's on Twitch or YouTube, things like that. Usually in charge of spearheading those. Some of the designs for the website, not all, like a lot of that was actually a joint effort, but a few of the things that are on the website, those were things that I was like, can we do something like this? Can we implement this? And that wound up being the case. And then social media manager, I've been managing Eric's personal social media since we're in 2023. So since November of 2021, to where I handle all of his kind of content related posts for, you know, his streams again and his videos. But now on top of that, for the Rippaverse stuff, I handle all the marketing and posts for all of the official Rippaverse accounts. So in total, I run about six social media accounts, not counting the YouTubes.
Damn. So, would you say that's quite fun or difficult, or
it's a blast? and right now we're in a bit of a lull period because we're ramping up for our next campaign to launch ISOM #2, the second book in the series, which is going to be really soon. And so a lot of the stuff that I'm doing right now is back end stuff. Like I said, prepping different graphics for all sorts of marketing and promotional stuff with our various graphical artists and animators. So a lot of the stuff that I'm doing right now, people aren't going to see the fruit of, you know, for another couple of months when we're in campaign mode. And when we're in campaign mode, however, though, I'm going to be churning out stuff across social media and on YouTube like crazy. Like if it,
You have to be trying to get the word out there for everything.
absolutely, and if it's anything like the first campaign with how crazy busy it was, like it's going to be even more so, because in this independent space, something we see, which is the complete polar opposite of what the mainstream in comics does, which those who don't know, in the mainstream of comics, typically issue 1 will sell the most, and then you'll sell, X percentage fewer for issue 2, another X percentage fewer for issue 3, and so on and so forth. And then it'll eventually kind of bottom out and flatten out. Whereas in this space, as long as the first issue of something is of quality, it tends to be the complete opposite, where you see the second issue do significantly better, and then the third do even better than that, as long as that second issue was of quality as well. So quality is something that is very much rewarded in this independent space. That's something we're very committed to. And so if we hold true to that, and as long as our fans, as long as our customers and the audience holds us to that and feel that we're following through for our part in terms of delivering a quality product, quality entertainment, then we're going to be busy for the rest of the year, because we've got 3 campaigns planned.
Yeah,
So
damn.
I'm going to be constantly at my PC and on my phone handling business. But I'm looking forward to it, because it's a ton of fun. I love what I do. I'm very blessed. And I love that I'm now getting to contribute to culture in a real way, a tangible way, because it's not enough at this point to just run your mouth. It's not enough.
We can comment all we want, which is
Yeah.
which is necessary, but that's like, all right, step 1. Now
Yeah.
now let's go to step 2.
Commentary is important, because that's how you sometimes will catch people onto the idea of something, maybe make them more cognizant of what's going on in entertainment. That's important. However, it can't just stop there,
Yeah.
because the mainstream has made it very clear they have very little desire, or at the very least there's a lot of resistance towards change, right? A lot of resistance towards returning to just quality storytelling. And so we said, okay, we'll do it our damn selves, right?
Yeah.
If you're not going to do it, we're going to do it, and we'll make money doing it, which is what we're doing. And so it feels really good to be able to contribute in a real way, actually, not just flapping the gums into the breeze, but actually providing a product, providing an alternative.
Yeah, which
And
I'm
there's
so
a lot
glad
to be said for that.
I'm so glad that people are doing that more these days, because like when everybody's like commenting on stuff and doing live streams, that's fun. And I like that. But like like to me, that's not the content I'm always wanting to watch. That's something that I have on when I'm like doing something else, usually kind of to listen in on and stuff. But when I'm like wanting to like sit down and eat some food or hang out with a buddy, like I want to watch something, something else here. What else?
Something actually entertaining and fun that makes you feel good, instead of something that makes you frustrated and angry. Yeah. No normal person can be surrounded by negativity 24/7. That can't be the only thing that you consume. It can't be the only thing that you put out. We're just not built that way as human beings.
Well, even if it's positive content, to me, like the style is different. Like on YouTube, most people are talking, and that's fine. But like in a movie, there's more than talking going on.
You're actually consuming,
you're watching a story happen. Exactly. So like I want to see a story happen sometimes and see different things happening. And like, when we watch fan film stuff, I mean, that's part of what's always been like an appeal. A lot of people always seem to see YouTube / fan film stuff or short films, whatever, independent stuff as like lesser than Hollywood stuff. But nowadays we've got the tools, and if you get enough experience, can rival it.
Yeah, you may not have the same resources as the Hollywood, hot shots, but I tell you what, there are fan films out there that certainly show that they have a lot more passion for what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, it's cool too seeing all this stuff go on. I mean, I've been trying to follow independent stuff here and there when I can. It's tough to follow everything now because there's so many that pop up at a time, and a lot of varying quality, and you want to support all of them. So even the lower one can rise up, because you never know. Like that one that's not doing good now could be excellent in 3 years from now.
Absolutely. Maybe they just need a little bit of a kick, a little bit of a boost, and all of a sudden they're the new hot shot.
Yeah. Would you say, I've seen this a lot on Twitter, especially like I Saw Him #2 is late already. And I don't know what they're talking about. I think I saw some of the tweets they reference, or like I think Ripa said that you guys are aiming to have something by the first quarter, but that tweet was just like announcing plans for things. Not, to me, there's a difference between setting this is when it's going to happen than we're planning on doing this. You're getting people an idea of what you're shooting for.
Their wording is very interesting when they claim that ISOM 2 is late, because late implies that we had given them a date to begin with.
Yeah,
which we didn't. We've
and
never
nobody's purchased anything yet. So
yeah, and no one's made any purchases. We haven't started the pre-orders. So by definition, it's not late on 2 counts.
Yeah.
Thirdly, while yes, we did say that we wanted to try and get campaign number 2 done, or at least like announced and the pre-orders started in first quarter, that was something entirely out of our control. We had to upgrade our warehouse. And that, because a lot of people don't realize this, for that first campaign, Eric printed 10,000 copies of ISOM number 1. Okay, 10,000, which sounds like a lot. If you look at the copies sold from virtually any other independent campaign in the comic book sphere, 10,000, you're probably going to be good. We should have been fine based on those projections and the standard within the independent space. We should have been fine through the end of the year. However, we wound up selling double that in just a couple of days. And we were like, we gotta... Eric got on the phone with our printers like, hey, so I know that we had some more that we were planning on printing later. I need them now. And so we had to print, like I said, we printed 10,000 copies initially. And that was supposed to last us, 5-6 months through the end of fiscal 2022. But in total, we sold over 60,000 copies of the book. We sold 6 times on the conservative side what we had initially planned on selling. And so we were like, well, we already outgrew our warehouse. We outgrew our warehouse in the first week. And we were like, well, we need to start looking at something bigger. And so now we have a bigger one. But those who don't know, getting set up inside of a warehouse is a tremendous pain in the ass, because the city, the state, they have to send all these inspectors. They have to
rules, and you want to be safe when you go in too.
Sure,
I'm doing my comic job and something.
They have to approve the build out. They have to approve the equipment you're putting in there. You have to get a permit to occupy your own building.
Right.
Okay, so we got everything else done, but you don't have the certificate of occupancy yet. So
you can have the building, you just can't go in it.
What the hell? And so if the city or the state are dragging their asses, as cities and states
usually they get paid more when they drag their asses.
If anybody's ever been waiting on a pothole on their street to get filled, think about that. It's even worse at the very least for
building structure.
Yeah, for a whole freaking building. And so we were just waiting on them. This entire time we're like, so can we move it along, guys? So it's not like things haven't been getting done. And in fact, the benefit is our customers are going to have a lot of sweet surprises because of the extra wait.
And I imagine
we were afforded that extra time to be like, okay, well, we're not just going to sit on our thumbs. Let's think of something cool.
Well, and I imagine that after the first round, where with that alone, get it, you only had 10,000 copies ready to go. I don't think people understand too. I nowadays I try to think more about technicalities when it comes to doing something. Even to the plastic you get for the straw that covers it, to the people that deliver it to you, whatever. So same thing. So you have 10,000. So you need to print more, like you said, but that means they have to get paper. Get that much more paper, get it to you, get it in a place where you can run it through and get all the things, and I imagine getting all the right art and all the, because there's the different like copies of the covers and stuff, right? And then there's different merch items here that come with the comic for some of the shipments, I assume. Like you can have all the comics printed, great, but now posters, now the other things, and you got to match them together and then make sure they're boxed properly and then make sure they're sent out, right? Like right, there's more
there's a lot to it
in it, and if the space that you're in is already tight because you don't have enough room at the moment, then you're having to work technically slower because the space isn't big enough yet. And like, yeah, so I mean, you guys still got it all done in a pretty good time, regardless of it being 6 times what you were expecting. So,
and that's a credit to the people that we have on our team. Honestly, I work with an amazing set of people, and not just on the creative side, like our lead illustrator Igor, our concept artist Marcos, our secondary illustrator slash letterer slash he can also color, like this. He's a jack of all trades. Eric Weathers. He's lettered like
I've heard of him the most. I don't think I've seen him before. Like throughout all the comics,
he's lettered like 90% of the independent books in this space. So like the dude's a machine. But they all are, to be honest. So they each have their niche. They each have their speciality. But not just the creative side. Also, our financial manager, Alex, he's fantastic and he works his ass off. Our operations manager, Brandon, and Christian, who's our other warehouse guy, like those two bust their butts. And we were only able to, and then everybody else that came in and helped, because we were, a lot of us wound up like either flying out or driving up, because I'm in Texas. It was like a 3.5 hour drive for me to go up to Dallas from the Austin area. Our freaking executive assistant, Caro, she flew out from Florida to help out. She was helping ship orders. Like our one of our video editors, Brian, he's our usual video editor, daily video editor and thumbnail guy. He does all the videos and thumbnails for Eric on a daily basis. Those are all him. Like he was at the warehouse shooting footage, helping with orders, packing things. Like it was a massive team effort. And it would not have been the smooth, more or less experience that it was without the efforts of every single person involved. We have a fantastic team, and I'm proud to work alongside.
That's freaking awesome. And I mean, I just wish that people would understand more on like how it works in general. Like, I don't think that most people that consumed comics for the longest period of time really thought about what went into it in the first place, and to how like Marvel and DC got to where they are now, to where whenever something needs to be done, they have it very I assume assembly line fashion with whatever they have done. They have so many artists working on so many things, so many whatever, that everything's getting done all at once, practically. It's seemingly to them. But yeah, one book, independent. You guys have physical space you got to take up. Like there's so much that goes into that. And looking at like Ethan Van Sciver on some of his stuff that he's done, you know, like a lot of people, especially for Wreck Planet, for some reason, you know, same with Blood Honey, a lot of people have problems with too, being late. But it's like, I don't know, like, you know, I got this little guy in the package there.
I'm still waiting on mine. I got the executive honeycomb box, the whatever it was, 250 box. So I'm waiting on that because that's got a whole slew of crap in it. I'm anxiously waiting for it, but like, there's a lot of cool stuff you get with this.
Yeah, I mean, he was trying to do more than just make the comic book. He's trying to make more things to go around with it. And I feel like the first couple books like this is going to feel like they're taking longer and like, you know, what's being accomplished with it. But he's doing a lot more with it. So I think in the next 5 years, you'll probably see comic books come quicker. Same with most people in the comic space, in the independent comic space at the moment. It's all getting a feel for what you need to accomplish. What other things do you want to add? How do you get them done? Who do you know? Like, how do you, like, I feel like that's all early stages for pretty much all of this. It's only been 5 years for some people, like starting and getting social media and all this other stuff. And like, I don't know, like Marvel and DC had like what, 70 years? How long have they been around for?
They've had like, a few years. Yeah.
Yeah.
They've had a few years head start on us, but we'll get there.
Like, I saw, you know, not as good as this thing. It's like, I'm sorry, if you're at all even trying to compare the independent thing to what the like globally known thing is, I mean, you're just already giving props like more than
the fact you're even putting us in the same conversation, like, oh, it didn't sell as many copies as Superman. So you what? Just compared us to like the greatest superhero in the world. Like,
That's
thanks.
had 70 years of being on the planet of people knowing about it for.
Yeah, like for
Okay.
real. Like
So
seriously?
based on
Okay.
based on how quick this came out, so how many years will it take for ISOM to beat it then? All right, let's go
Right.
with that. Go with that next.
Yeah.
That's not even the point. So that's what's interesting. I plan on reading. I have ISOM. I got that too, and I got a whole bunch of comic books from independents that I've backed, but I haven't read most of them yet. But I'm
It's
planning
hard to find time, man. I just recently started going into my backlog of the independent books that I had backed.
Mhm.
Like shout out to Martina Marcota, like her book, she went through a lot of crap to get hers finally produced.
Yeah.
But Lady Alchemy, that was a really interesting read. That was one of the most unique books that I have read in the comic book sphere, and it also had some familiarity with other things that I've read in the past, and I really enjoyed it. That's worth a look for sure. Um, the thing about the independent space is that it rewards effort, it rewards quality, and that goes both ways. The obviously the creators are rewarded with more sales, but the fans and the customers are rewarded with more quality entertainment. And the more that they support, the more things smart creators can do. We reinvested all of that money that we made from ISOM #1, $3.7 million. Eric put out a video about it a couple months back, and I wrote an article about it on the official website, breaking down where that money went and what we did with it and what we're doing with it moving forward. Like, we can those timetables that you were just talking about, as far as like things can take a long time. Yeah. The more you support somebody that's actually structuring themselves as a business and reinvesting in their business, we're gonna be able to automate more things. We're gonna be able to speed up timetables on things. We're gonna be able to bring more people on, which would make shipping go faster, make all sorts of things go faster and more smoothly. And that just is incumbent on both the independent creator to provide that quality product, as well as the potential customer base saying, okay, this looks like it's something worth supporting, so I need to support it. No one's entitled to somebody else's dollar, but if you want a quality product, you have to be willing to support that quality product. So as long as we maintain that relationship, and our fan base, the Rippaverse fan base is fantastic. They're the greatest fans in the world. Eric says it all the time, and I say it all the time. And our entire team loves our fan base to death, and they support us and they rock with us, and we're looking forward to being able to provide them more stuff. not just like more products to buy, but even beyond that. So
yeah,
that's all I'll say about that.
That's good.
We've got a lot of surprises in store for our fans.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, like that's the kind of stuff that a lot of people in our sphere have like talked about for a while. But I like that Eric was working on this for a long time prior to announcing stuff publicly, because it's like, oh, it feels fresher now. But to him, it's like it's been how many years he's been putting into doing that.
A long time, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm still trying to learn about filmmaking. I'm still trying to watch films that I haven't seen that I'm supposed to see to be a filmmaker kind of stuff. I'm still working on that. So I feel like I'm still a few years away from getting to any point of relevancy, but I'm still working on it, still working on stuff. And that's the thing too. I'm trying to be reinvigorated with stuff, and seeing more people do their thing too is just like a reassurance in a way of like, okay, people are still willing to give them a try. So don't ever be like, oh, well, just because yours isn't good as something else, you'd still try it yourself. And that's why I don't know. I try to look at the haters and try to see, okay, so where is there a point? I really try to think, where does this come from? Because sometimes there can be points that are more valid than others.
Sure, but there's valid constructive criticism.
Like with the things being late, that's a hard estimation. Like, I'll use EVS just for now because like Wreck Planet was supposed to be finished, I want to say 2022 June or something, I think maybe a year ago. But people phrase it though like it's 3 years past, and it's like, no, I think it launched like 2 years ago, maybe 3, maybe like it launched the campaign launched, but it wasn't promised to be done until middle or late 2022. It's 20 as far as I can tell.
People have to understand that there's differences in the business model. Eric, both sides, both our detractors and some of the mainstream networks that covered us, mislabeled our business model
as a crowdfund.
as a crowdfund, which it wasn't. No, Eric invested over $200,000 out of his own ass into the company up front. That was lawyer fees, that was printing costs, that was all of this stuff, copyright stuff.
Yeah,
for the artists, so they have a paycheck, and things like that. This is before some of those guys wound up being brought on as full time, just on staff. And that's a blessing to be able to give those guys, consistent work, consistent jobs that they can rely on, instead of having to, scrounge around, go from one place to one place, trying to get commissions and things like that from project to project. That model is why we were able to launch the campaign, and at the end of the campaign period, which is, I think we did 75 days, then we started fulfillment. Like it was the next day, practically.
Yeah.
Like our books were being received in our warehouse the day after we closed out the campaign. And it's like, all right, time to get everything squared away and set up, start shipments. And so that's why fulfillment and the turnaround was so quick with ISOM. Now for crowdfunding, it's a big difference, because a lot of the crowdfunding guys, they don't have that same free capital where they can just pay for everything up front. And also, even though they might have, buddies or family or, other people that are in the same independent sphere that they can rely on to help them out with certain things, it's not the same as having like an actual team and a staff that can handle all that. And plus, Eric himself was in the warehouse packing orders till late at night.
Yeah.
And so it's way different than Ethan, who is drawing the book and inking the book all on his damn own and writing the book. And if you look at his art style is extremely detailed. If you look you look at each panel and you're like, well, no wonder the shit took so long, because look at it. Right? And
it feels like I'm looking at like screenshots from a film, kind of.
It
like
really is that level of detail. If you're looking at a comic book in 4K, when you're
the
reading
honey
a book,
coming out of the eyes and mouth.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Shit,
when you're reading a book by Ethan, that's how that is. And then the quality of the coloring by Kyle Ritter, you look at that. No wonder this thing took a while.
And the other stuff with it.
And all the other products that he's
for the
bundling
future. These are things that he's going to do, so in the future it can happen quicker. Like it's going to be a snowball effect into the future, where you want a Cyberfrog book like within a year, it'll happen, but it's going to take a while. He's still figuring that out. And I also think he's older than he's like twice the age of Eric, right? Probably. And it's like Eric's got more.
I think he's half again Eric's age. I don't think Ethan's in his 40s.
Yeah, I want to say late 40s, but I don't know. I was just going to say, like, as far as like the amount of energy one can output, and like the amount of stuff, like Eric's, young and fresh with this, and he's able to like physically go to the place and do the stuff. And Ethan's doing that stuff too, but he's like older and like, and he's doing all the writing and the inking and stuff. Like he's like, his energy is probably going to take a different amount of distribution.
And as far as the fulfillment goes, it's him and his family that are doing the fulfillment.
And it's like, and Eric's like running a full like company of staff and stuff too, and like building like that. I don't run all that stuff, so like I don't know how much. I imagine there's a lot of phone calls. I imagine there's a lot of technicalities,
emails, you name it.
Technicality things that take up time. That's like, are you serious? Or they're trying to charge this much. Well, should I look in? Do I just accept the pay, or do I look at, is this really how much I'm supposed to be charged or not? And then deal with it. And it's like all these different things take time. But then you see people on Twitter, they're just like, you're taking a long time, guys. And, you just get the
those
book
are people
out.
that they've never run
about
a business. Like the question that they're asked most throughout the day is, do you want fries with, like the question they ask the most is, do you want fries with that? They're nowhere near running a business, and they have no concept of it. And it's just really sad. My hope would be that Ethan very soon, hopefully sooner rather than later, gets to the point where he can then basically do what we did, at least to I think you would probably see a more hybridized model, because something that I do like what Ethan does is the benefit is like, if you reach a certain number of sales, like we reached this X dollar amount, right? Okay, so now all the covers are chromium, right? And
Yeah.
you have the book, you see how gorgeous that looks. That's a
Yeah.
cool thing you can do with the crowdfunding thing. I'm
Yeah.
hoping that a new methodology, a model can be kind of parsed together through all of this to where that can be done while also improving turnaround and also improving like profits, because Indiegogo and Kickstarter take a percentage of every
Yeah.
sale. And they also are sneaky and try and default you to tipping them as well.
True. I fucking hate when I was buying. I backed like 10 comics last week.
Yeah.
I had extra money. I was gonna just look at some ones, and every single time I go to the checkout, it's like, want to tip us like $30? I'm like, no, I
It's like,
don't.
no,
Sorry.
Indiegogo, you
No.
didn't make this.
And when I did one Indiegogo campaign for these like trading cards once, and we did a limited amount just to see what we can do with it, and it didn't end up going anywhere too much, but we still fulfilled it. But it was like it was only like 30 backers was what our limit was for it, and then it was like $500 that we made, but like we only got like, I don't know, 300-ish, something like that, and it was like 390 or something. I don't remember exactly. It was like they took a chunk there. It's like only $110, but it's like, well, that's okay. So this is we're gonna have to get them printed and then shipped still, and shipping was annoying a little bit. As small as the thing as it was, it was just
you
like,
don't have much profit left.
Yeah, it's like I think we walked away with like 20 or 30 bucks each.
Yeah.
It was just like, okay, that's better than nothing, I guess. So
and that's an unfortunate thing with that, and that's why it's so important to have the autonomy of not having to rely on places like Indiegogo and Kickstarter, because that more money that you have on the profit end means that's more money that you can
reinvest. Exactly. Yeah, that's why I liked when Eric was pointing that out when he wasn't doing Indiegogo. I was like, oh yeah, that's a good freaking point. Starting on your own, why not keep your own profits? It's almost like how come nobody else thought of that? Like,
imagine.
But like running a website, and having it be trustworthy, I think is where a lot of people probably default to not being so sure of, I guess, like giving information to a website, I imagine, but I don't know.
The thing, if you are legitimately setting up your website, there's a lot of legal stuff that goes into like people's data and things like that. Like people, like I understand the concern, but like a lot goes into like data management and making sure that data is safe and protected and not accessible by any Joe Blow,
Yeah. Exactly. And I imagine that part as well is probably what you guys are preparing for at some point, like to deal with. Like you had to deal with the amount of influx on ISM1 with, I imagine the servers were crashing here and there a little bit.
We restructured our website to where we should be able to handle that, unless of course we get, 100,000 orders day one, which I don't see being the case. That would be a great problem to have. I would not complain. At that point, we'd be like, so we need an even bigger warehouse already, right?
Yeah, that's what I find interesting is that a lot of Twitter people, I guess, will be like, so if your website was crashing because of an influx of sales, they go like, what a mess you guys are making out of this or something, and it's like,
instead of realizing, wait, we just got so many more sales and purchases than we were anticipating.
Yeah, like I'm thinking of restaurants that open, and then it's like, oh, there's a line down the street, and it's like, that's a good thing if you're struggling to get the products together. You're like, oh crap, we need more people, we need more product. Oh no, it's like, it's a struggly situation, but it's ultimately good because that many people want it. So that shows that. But yeah, it's fun talking about this kind of stuff as well. It's fun business talk, I guess. I don't do that enough, so I like that.
Independent stuff is a fun bit for sure, and I'm proud and blessed to be a part of it.
I agree. Heck yeah. So you guys follow Caffinated Wolfe over on Twitter. He's not decaf, okay? He's full calf.
No. The decaf. As for me and my house, we will serve no decaf in here.
Okie dokie. But yeah, that's it. Are you gonna do any streams or doing anything else you want to announce? I guess with
every Tuesday night at 8, usually about 8 Central, 8:05. I'm the co-host of the High Council over on World Class Bullshitters. We have a ton of fun over there. Mary and I over on Mary Mayhem's channel, we do Harry Potter focused streams fairly regularly. In fact, we are planning on doing one here shortly after this, like in the next hour or so.
Perfect. That's awesome. Well, you guys go check that out over there. And yeah, in about an hour or so. And yeah, I will see you guys later.